Hey there, I'm Logan, and over the past few years I've tested dozens of approaches to working with price charts and market patterns. One of the methods I still use shows an incredibly high level of accuracy, even today. In fact, I recently tested it again, this time alongside members of my private community, and the outcome honestly exceeded our expectations. Turns out it's not just about the method, it's also about how you apply it. So today I'm going to walk you through how it works. No complicated terms, no formulas, just a clear breakdown. If that sounds interesting, stay with me and then watch closely. Today, we're going to analyze the market with you. And for that, let's prepare our workspace. First of all, we will be using the MACD indicator with you. I set the settings as usual. I don't change them in any way. Then we move to a time frame of 5 seconds and an expiry time of 15 seconds. Let's get started. Here, I open a position upwards and wait for the expiration time. I open a trade up here because the indicator and the chart direction indicate it to me. It's an obvious situation. Oh, that's great! After the downward price movement, a small correction has started and the corrective upward movement. I think it will continue for a while because the MACD indicator is pointing to it. Therefore, I open the position up and I'm waiting for the expiry time. I'll move on. Here we see a strictly downward movement. Because of this, I open a position down for the continuation of the downward movement and wait for the end of the trade. The indicator also highlights this to me. Great deal, folks! Here we could see downward price movement. This is the downtrend line, and also the downward movement of the indicator. Consequently, a downside position was opened and it ended perfectly. What are your thoughts on this deal? Write it in the comments whether you would have opened it. And I will move on. Here we see the beginning of the upward movement on the indicator and on the price chart respectively. Therefore, I open the position upwards and expect the upward movement to continue, waiting for the expiration time and the result of the trade. It was pretty close to our entry point, but it ended well. We see here that after a strong downward movement, an upward movement has begun, which is highlighted by our indicator. I'm moving on. I see some indefinite movement on the indicator here. Let's move on to the next set. Here I will open a position down, because it's indicated by the price chart and confirmed by the MACD indicator. The time will now come to an end, and I will give more details about the situation. It was a pretty risky deal. It closed right near the entry point, but it closed successfully. You may have noticed the beginning of the downward movement on the indicator, as well as the downward movement on the chart. Because of this, a position was opened on the downside, but the market was volatile. Therefore, we should pay attention to the red histogram, which indicates a downward impulse. And as you can see, it happened. Let me say this straight. If you've ever seen someone catch one lucky moment and call it success, forget it. What really matters is consistency, not random wins. That's exactly why I share multiple possible entry setups daily. So the members of my space have a clear structure they can use and adopt. It's not about guessing. It's about building confidence over time with clarity and guidance. And honestly, you can already see the difference it's making for many of them. The link's in the description. Join the group and explore the exact steps that others are already using in their real time. Moving on. Here we see an upward price movement according to the indicator and the chart. Excellent entry point. Open the position up and wait for the expiry time. Great entry point, friends. We see a strong upward movement of the indicator and also an upward movement of the price. As a result, I open an upward position in the direction of this movement. That's all I had to do. I will move on. Here we see a similar situation. So here I open a position down and wait for the end of a trade, as the trend movement is also directed downwards. Great, the transition is successful, similar to the previous one. Only here we have a downward movement, and here it's up. And the situations themselves are very similar. The market is really happy today, don't you think? Moving on. What we see here is that we have a downward movement. It is over, and the indicator indicates the continuation of the upward movement. Let's give it a try. most important thing is that we saw a rise here, followed by a correction. That is, this growth, correction, and further upward price movement is planned. It's a good situation to enter. This isn't some course or webinar. Inside my community, you're immediately part of a process. You see a setup, you try it. You get tools, you apply them. This hands-on approach turns out to be the most effective, especially for those who are just starting out. If you've always thought you need to memorize theory before you take actions, maybe try the opposite. Learn by doing, right in the moment. That's when real understanding kicks in. You'll find everything you need to take your first step at the link below. Let me move on. Here we see a rather uncertain situation on the indicator and on the chart. So I'm moving on again. What we see here is that the corrective downward movement is over. The MACD indicator further indicates that there could be a continuation of the trend movement. And so I open a position up and wait for the time of the operation. Good result. We've seen the downward movement. Let's take a closer look. There was an upward movement followed by a small correction. This is where we might have spotted error. After that, the upward movement started again. We got him good. Good job. Let's pick another asset. Here we see a strong movement, and according to the trend I open a position down. Because trend is our friend, as we know. So I open a position down and wait for the expiration time. The indicator just confirmed it. We're seeing a downtrend here. All this time the indicator is below the zero mark. I mean below this line. And this is a confirmation of the downward momentum. And that's why I opened the position down, and quite successfully. When you're stepping into something new, doubts are normal. It's hard to know if you're even moving into the right direction. But lately, people in my group have been sharing their experience, and they've been positive. One member even sent a video to say thanks. He shared how this approach helped him finally feel a real shift in his progress. So if you're still unsure whether to try it or just check the link, you'll see how people just like you are navigating it step by step. Actually, now let me move on. Here too, I see a downward movement on the indicator and on the chart. So I open a position down and wait for the expiry time, as this strategy is sharpened to use only trends and movements. We had a downtrend confirmed by an indicator. And in fact, we took an open position on this trend. Good job, folks. Good result in one session. What do you think? What you just saw is just a small part of the approach I use with my community. So here's the question: would you rather keep trying to figure it out all on your own, or see how others are doing it inside a space with real tools, examples, and support? If you're feeling hesitant, that's totally okay. No need to decide right away. Just click the link and look around. See how we break things down, what kind of formats we use, read the stories, feel the vibe, and then decide if this is for you. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.